It is my privilege to introduce and welcome to you on the stage the man who has traveled 245 nations of this world in 6 years, 6 months, and 22 days, making a world record, proclaiming Jesus, making Jesus known to every nation of this world. And we are happy that his wife is accompanying him today. People of God, put your hands together to welcome on the stage Dr. Beni Prasad.
Good evening, everyone, once again. I am Zanbeni, and I am from the northeast part of India, a state called Nagaland. And as I was just sharing with Father, it just reminded me of during my high school days, because I also studied in Don Bosco in Nagaland. So, yeah, so I was just reminded, and I was just missing the fathers and the teachers who were such a blessing for me during the time when I was studying in that school. And coming here, just looking around the campus and the buildings, and I was feeling like quite nostalgic actually. So that's something that I was sharing with Father, and also with two beautiful ladies, Rebecca and Amelia. I had a good time yesterday as well, sharing with them my story. And so I feel like I'm just home. As our Father mentioned, someone mentioned saying that, Don Bosco is like a home. So I feel like I'm at home. So thank you for making me feel home. And I'm very much blessed to be part of this evening as well. So before my husband take this stage and just do some more music together, we would love to start with a song, so which my husband will take this time to share a little bit about the background of the song.
Yeah, the first song, we are going to do 3 songs for you, and in between I'll be sharing more of my journey. The first song is a song which Whitney Houston sang for the Olympics in 1988 in South Korea. The song is called One Moment in Time. And I know that the song was sung at a sporting event, but there is so much of profound truth. And for me, there's so many things that are involved when it comes to this song. Having played at 2 Olympic Games as a musician, one in Greece and one at the London Olympic Games. There's so many things that happen in life, and things can change over time. And there are challenges which hit us, and as a result, we feel like quitting because of those challenges. Times where people have cheated us, the ones we trusted, and then we feel like quitting. And our stories are stories of brokenness. Our stories are stories truly that remind our past about ashes, literally. Educationally, we are very compatible with each other. My wife is 9th standard up here, and I'm 10th standard failed. So that is our educational qualification. My wife could not finish her 10th standard because there was a 30-year-old man who started to stalk her when she was going to school. She was 13 years old. And as she was walking to school, this man started to follow her and started to show his likeness to her. And then one day, as she was walking with her mother to school, he caught hold of her hand and pulled towards her mother. And he said, "I want to marry your daughter." And she was so naive and she was so innocent. And she was under tremendous fear. What if this man does something wrong? And as a result, she went into trauma. She locked herself in the house and she would not step out. And so she could not finish her studies as a result of that. And then she had this one encounter in 2002 that broke the fear that was in her. And she was set free, and she started to have this new walk as a transformed lady. And that one moment in time was when she met Jesus. Now in my case, I went to a very prestigious school. My father was an aerospace scientist, and I was put in this school called Kendriya Vidyalaya. And they looked at me and they said I was a disaster, I was worthless, I was useless. All these words. I became the perfect example of what it means to be useless. They would tell the students, if you don't study, you will become like Benny. So I was the ultimate example of that, so much that I thought I was born to be useless. It's so different. People cannot comprehend how can a person be so bad. I was speaking at the United Nations in Laos, and same thing, the people from the United Nations were there, and that lady tried to convince me by saying, Benny, you were not a bad person. It's just that you didn't see. I said, no, I was. I was known for things that were, like, there was nothing creative in me. My father would buy a new watch, and the first thing I want to do is to find out what is inside the watch. So within no time, I open up, and then you open up, and you open up like a treasure hunt. And finally, you have opened everything, and then you're satisfied, and then you put everything back, and suddenly you discover that the company had put by mistake extra 3 screws because it's not fitting anywhere. And then the watch is not working anymore. And you see, and people would look at me and say, you are fit for nothing. You're good for nothing. And then in school, the same thing. And I was put in this school where, in second standard, they moved me from an English medium school to a Hindi medium school, one of the biggest disasters in the world of education. Because you see, I didn't know anything in Hindi. And suddenly you I have this entrance exam. I have no knowledge of Hindi. And the teachers felt very good because, at 7, everyone looks very cute. And so they did this good thing by writing my entrance paper. But that was not the right thing. I wish they would have failed me. Just imagine, everything was in Hindi. History was in Hindi, civics was in Hindi, geography was in Hindi. Thankfully, English was in English. Other than that, everything was in Hindi. And I struggled. And then when it came to 10th standard, the school was so proud of its 100% pass percentage. And here I was going to create history by being the first ever failure of the school. So they called my parents and said, we don't like to have such historical people, so please take him off the school. So diplomatically I was kicked out of the school. But today I tell the world, I could not finish my 10th standard because the Indian educational system was not up to my standard. And then they threw me out of the school. So parents and friends, just want to tell you that, no, not every failure is a failure. Some of them don't fit into the system. Just give a little bit of time and grace, they will do wonders. They can do amazing wonders. The biggest challenge in our society is this. We don't look at the potential of a child. It is like you're trying to get a Benz car experience out of a Maruti 800. It's not possible. But we push and push our children to making them something that they are not meant for. How can you do that? I thank God I'm not an aerospace scientist, because had I been one, none of the satellites would have reached its destination actually. And but this is the problem. And now look at our lives. 2 weeks ago I was asked to speak for the graduation of a prime school in Bangalore, and I was the speaker for the 10th standard and 12th standard students. And I told them, I can't understand, something is wrong here, because I have not finished my 10th standard, but now I have to speak for the graduation of the 10th and 12th standard students. That is the irony of our system. And then the people ask me, how did the change happen in you? Yesterday I was speaking at IIT Kharagpur, and I'm like amazed. This is the cream of the cream sitting there, and they're telling me, wow, Benny, you are such an inspiration for us. I said, something is really wrong. And then I'm taken to speak at a college in New Delhi. I don't want to name it. But the cutoff percentage there in this college is 97.8. Can't understand how a college like this exists. And then they invite me to speak to 1,500 students. And again, something is really wrong, because I struggled to get 33.5%, and now they're telling me to speak to these students. 97.8 is their cutoff. So I told them, when you do well in studies, your goal is to join this college. With pride, they were all nodding their head. Then I told them, but when you don't do well in studies, you become a speaker at this college. And that was the headlines in the newspaper. So, my friends, just because the world says you cannot do it, it doesn't mean you cannot. I'll tell you, one sheet of marks paper, or marks card, cannot decide everything in life. But the truth is that, one moment in time, just like what the song says, one moment in time can change your destiny. One moment in time, you can rise up from ashes, and the inner beauty and grace and all the other characteristics can be shown, because that's who I was. Imagine, I couldn't even speak proper Hindi, leave alone English. And today when I sit down and speak to dignitaries all over the world, they're like, how did you learn how to speak English? But this is what transformation did. This is what that one moment in time did to transform our lives forever. That one moment in time was at 16, at the lowest point of my life, when I had nothing else to look for. I failed in every sphere of my life. And during that time is when I had an encounter with Jesus Christ. See, I went to church just like most of you. I went to church because my father said, if you don't go to church, you will not get lunch. See, that's the only incentive that led me to church. But it's pointless. When your heart is not there, when you don't have a relationship, what is the use? Sleeping at home and being in church is almost the same, because you don't have a connection. And here at 16, at the lowest point of my life, having lost everything in life, I'm just physically breathing. I said, why should I live anymore? Medically, doctors gave me 6 months to live. Educationally, I'm thrown out. Musically, my guitar teacher said, please don't come back again on the first day of the class. And he says, Benny, I heard the voice of Jesus. He says, even though you are called useless, I want you. I can transform you and make you a new person. And that was enough, because I wanted to start fresh. Especially in India, you see, they keep a list of all your wrongdoings. Till today, even what happened when I was 2 years old, people still talk about it. All the wrong things. But that's our culture. But the beauty of Jesus is, he says, when you surrender your life into my hands, I will transform you. I will take away your sins and move it as far as east is from the west, and give you a brand new start. And might be if there's someone here, as we present this song, One Moment in Time, my prayer is that no matter what you have gone through in life, no matter what you have done, I pray that this evening you will ask that Jesus to come into your heart and start a fresh new walk. Leave your past behind and start a new journey. Enjoy this song.
Each day I live, I want to be a day to give the best of me. I'm only one, but not alone. My finest day is yet unknown. I broke my heart for every game, to test the sweet, I face the pain. I rise and fall, yet through it all, this much remains. I want one moment in time, when I'm more thought I could be, when all of my dreams are a I will feel, I will feel eternity. You're enough for a lifetime, and if it sees that one moment in time, make it shine. Give me one moment in time when I'm more than I thought I could be. When all my dreams are a heartbeat away, and the answers are all up to me. Give me one moment in time when I'm racing with destiny. Then, in that one moment of time, I will be, I will be free. Thank you.
It's so powerful what Jesus could do. The world we live in today, science and reasoning has taken up so much that many, many young people even struggle to believe in the existence of God. In fact, I remember speaking at another prime college in New Delhi. And one of the students came and said, "Sir, why are you spoiling your life story with bringing Jesus into the picture? Your story sounds so fascinating on its own. Why are you spoiling?" And I want to tell you, no matter what the world says, I know for sure. At 16, I had nothing to live, and I wanted to kill myself. And if Jesus could reach out to me, I bear that testimony today. And I don't want to keep that secret. And I still remember when I asked Jesus, "Lord, what do you want to do with my life?" And I had these small little dreams. Like one of them was, I wanted to sit in an airplane and take off. I was not concerned whether the plane would land or no. I just wanted to take off. And I asked Jesus, "Lord, what is your dream for my life?" Parents, you are so worried about your children's future. You just are concerned, and then you try to plan the careers for them. And most of the careers are always centered around financial stability. And yet we sing songs like "Seek ye first the kingdom of God," and "God shall provide all my needs, Jehovah Jireh." But heart of hearts, do you really believe that God can provide? Do you really believe that God exists? It's one thing to have it here, and it's another thing to have it here. And here, I asked Jesus, "Lord, what is your dream for my life?" Young people, it is so important to live a purpose-filled life. What is the use of just studying and studying without purpose? And then many times you look at what's happening in the world. One thing is with their education, and when they're doing something, it's nothing connected to the studies. Recently, a girl, she has done bachelor's in mechanical engineering with a special focus on aeronautics. What is she doing now? Working for HSBC. That is the heights of disaster of education, actually. But my prayer is that if we can know what is our purpose in life, if we know what we want to do, and you put your best into that to equip you, you can do wonders. I tell the world, education is useful as long as it equips you to becoming what you want to become. Otherwise, it's just a piece of paper. 4 years of hard work, and it's gone. And students are asking today questions that I'm not able to answer. Recently, a mother tells me to talk to her son. He's doing his 9th standard, and he's like not interested in mathematics. So I go to him, I said, "Alex, it's good for you to finish off this." He says, "Benny, I don't understand where that does this fit, algebra and trigonometry." And I said, "No, it's good for you." He said, "When was the last time you used it?" I said, "Oh, I don't think I've ever used it actually, other than addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. He said, you are 42, you have not used, why should I study? Now, how do you answer something like this? These are genuine questions that people are asking. And at the same time, they ask me, Benny, how could you know your purpose in life? And for me, my friends, that is where Jesus comes into the picture. Because he holds my tomorrow. He knows my tomorrow. And he can sustain my tomorrow. So when I asked Jesus, what do you want me to do with my life? He said, Benny, I want you to travel to every country by 2010. I said, God, you must understand, I am a missionary. I have 1,000 rupees a month. And the budget that I have and the plans that you have are really not really in the right place. Then I said, you have given me the wrong passport. Indian passport, in those days, you needed to get visas to almost every country. I said, the dream is right, but the passport is wrong. And then, you see, like, I have so many excuses. I said, God, how can this be possible? He said, Benny, what is impossible for man is possible for me. And friends, I put my faith in Jesus, not on money. And I said, God, as long as you are my provider, I will be your traveler. I made 4 financial principles in my life. Never ask for money, never borrow money, never take a loan from the bank, or trust the credit card. These were my 4 financial principles. And you can show the world map on the screen, the first picture, and let me take out my passport and show you how it looks today. So this is my one passport, if you can see. It's a combination of 15 books inside. I love to carry my passport, even though I'm not required to carry within the country, but I think I'm the only guy who carries passports to concerts, I think, but anyways. And this passport, my favorite part is at the immigration desk. You know, it's just priceless to see the facial expression of the officer. You put the passport across, generally they don't even smile, they're trained not to smile. And when you put a passport like this, they are just confused. And some of the smart ones would say, sir, don't come as a family, come one person at a time. And when I tell them that I am this one person, they are shocked. Like they say, what have you studied? That's the first question. And then when I say I have not finished my 10th standard, then where do you get the money? But you say, who said money is the ultimate decider for our dreams to come true? No. That's why you see, when you seek God and His kingdom and His righteousness, all the other things, the means will automatically come. That's not a concern. The concern is to live a righteous life. How do we live a righteous life? That's why, my friends, read your Bible every day. Today we have the knowledge, the understanding to read. Pray to Jesus every day. Spend time, quality time, not just a lottery system by opening the Bible. Okay, put your finger. If you don't like verse 2, then again close your eyes, go for the next one. No, just read systematically. Get to know your God well. You can do wonders. If a broken person like us, we could do wonders with our lives, how much more God can use. And just like the world map, on 22nd of November 2010, I arrived in my last country, Pakistan, at the time, and I broke 6 world records. And one of them is I became the fastest man in the world to travel to every sovereign and dependent countries in the shortest time. 245 nations, including Antarctica, in 6 years, 6 months, and 22 days. There was a time in my life when I failed in geography, but today I live geography. I give the credit back to Jesus Christ, who could give me the strength to travel, provide the finances to travel, give me the courage to tread on uncharted waters, traveling to all these places. And we are going to sing this song in Hindi called Shukriya. And recently we tried to do a jazz version of this song, and we'll try our best. Again, you see, both of us, we are not musically educated people, but we found out that this is a gift that God has given, so we nurtured our gifts. And well, my Hindi is okay, but just want to tell you that I was once invited to speak in a prison in Mumbai, and they forgot to take the translator. I said, why did you even invite me without a translator? They said, oh, we thought you could speak in Hindi. I said, I failed in Hindi. And then the official said, sir, I can try. I've never translated, but I can try. See, that's dangerous, but then you have no choice. I said, okay, sir, you can translate. We sat down, the stage is set. I started off by saying, I was born with asthma. And he translated by saying, ye asman mein paida hua. You see, at least thankfully I knew a little bit of Hindi. I knew that something is wrong over there. But in spite of all our shortcomings and our weaknesses, today we want to thank Jesus Christ for the gift of life He has given, for the joy and for the blessings that He has blessed us with. So enjoy the song, Shukriya. Can we mute the guitar, please? just going to close by playing a song on the pan flute. My wife and myself, we just got married little more than 1 year ago, and 6th of August 2016. And when we decided to get married, we wanted to keep our wedding simple and to be an example to the society. Because we know that society always has ideas, but they never pay your bills. So we just wanted to be wise with that. And how can we keep a wedding simple? Because Indian weddings are lavish and foolish. So we just wanted to be an example. But you can't cut down on people because RSVP doesn't exist in our culture. So we thought, let's target the food. You see, if the food is good, you'll remember for a week. If the food is bad, you'll remember for a month. But if you don't serve food at all, they'll remember you for a lifetime. And so that's what we did. We didn't serve any food at our wedding. And it was all fine. We just served some tea and snacks and coffee. And friends, nobody died. Everything was perfectly fine. And we saved up so much of money that we were able to bless a family who needed money to renovate their house. So I want to tell you that whatever we do, let there be purpose. And let us not become foolish like what the world is. Let's be different. And let's be like Jesus, what he did to us. He is our greatest role model. And I'm going to close by playing a song on this pan flute. It's a beautiful instrument from Romania. And 2012, I was invited to play at the Paralympic Games in London for the Dada Fest. And I said, God, how can I be a blessing to somebody? Especially at the Paralympic Games where people come with all these challenges. And that's when God said, Benny, go and pick up the pan flute. I love this instrument, but I knew that I can never play this with 40% lungs and with asthma. It's just hard, and that too, these pipes are all of different sizes. So, your breathing technique and everything doesn't work. And I said, God, how can I play this instrument when I can't even breathe properly? You see, sometimes we like to update God with the latest problem as though he has not seen the news, So I'm just updating God with that. And he says, Benny, I can give you strength. I said, but how? He said, if I could use 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish to feed 5,000, don't you think I can also use 40% lungs to play the pan flute? You see, ever since then I stopped giving ideas to God how to do a miracle. But God did it. I went and picked up the pan flute. I typed on YouTube how to play the pan flute. I prayed and I asked Jesus for strength, and in 6 days I learned to play this instrument. And within a month's time, I ended up playing at the Paralympic Games. And truly, he became my strength in the midst of my weakness. And a couple of years ago, a doctor took me to D.Y. Patil Hospital. And he said, Benny, I want to pray for you, and I want to do a complete check. And he was from Manipur, Dr. Samuel. He prayed for me. He did a complete intensive check. And the results came saying, Benny, your asthma is still very severe. But the amazing part is that your lungs have regrown from 40% to 95%. So just want to encourage you, don't give up. Don't quit. There are seasons we go through in life, but I believe that in due time, he will raise you up from that ashes. And he will give you that graceful journey where you will become a testimony. You will see some excerpts of the Passion of Christ on the screen. And as I play this song, You Raise Me Up, I just want to tell you, if Jesus can raise broken souls like my wife and myself and make us a blessing, even thank you, fathers, for inviting us. We are ordinary people, and you have been so gracious to using us for this evening. We are thankful. And we want to be useful as much as possible till we die, because that's what God has called us, is to be useful beings. And the song says, You raise me up when I'm upon your shoulder. And the same thing, my question is, on whose shoulder are you leaning today? Let's play the track. Some reverb on this microphone, please. Can we play the track, please? Thank you very much. God bless you all.